now what is self-censorship? So self-censorship is what it is when you people do a kind of reviews, kind of you have set rules for yourself in which you should have a sense between a right and a wrong, between which you should have a sense of legal and illegal, moral and again things that like against the moral value, right? So you must have like you must set some kind of rules, the self-imposing rules, and one should like one should have gone through that kind of rules themselves before launching any idea, before launching any kind of news, before any making anything public available to the public, right? Before making anything of publication, we should have gone through all of that rules and all that things. That is all about that self censorship, right? So censorship is an legal action. Okay, that one should go through all of the rules and regulations before someone going against you or your business. You should set some goals. You should set some rules that must be legal for your organization, for your company, so that no one can harm you later, right? No one can make a complaint against you. No one no one can ever take any action against your company, against your business. So most common form of the censorship is the self-censorship, and more group decides for itself not to publish. What are the reasons? Avoid subsequent persecution and maintaining good relations with the government officials, resources. Rating system created to advise potential audience, movies, TVs, CDs, video games, and non-notable. So there are actually different types of contents when you people talk about the rating system, movies, TVs, CDs, video games, and all that. So how to be honest with all of the content, why, which might be created by you or which might be created by others, right? You should be honest with it that before making available to the public, before publishing it, such kinds of content to the audience, you should have review it. You should have you should must have a look to all of the content, whether it is if it is if it might this consent or this kind of things is might going against anyone else in anyone might going against anyone, against any company, against any organization. Okay, and it should not have any inappropriate content. It should not have any kind of abusive language or abusive words, right? You should not disrespect others. You should not have any kind of content and that may like you can create a review. You can create you can create a manner. You can create in a you can give it a review or this is our point of view about anything, but the way how you are dealing with it, how you are presenting it, how you are making it public to the audience, that is all things that really needs important, that won't have anything that have any disrespect for anyone, right? So now we people are discussing about the challenges that are posed by the internet. So different challenges are posed by the internet, many to many, like communications, right? So when you people we people mostly when people use different applications, different internet social media, like for example we have read a newspaper and have read a news, and for any kind of query, any kind of like business strategy, if we want to interact with any kind of author, with any with anyone from a newspaper who have published a news, or who have might have wrote an article. We want to consult him. We want to just make a discussion with him. What we will do, we will actually take an address, and we will try to just we will try to just reply him. We will talk to him individually, right? Like one-to-one response, right? But in a blog, people are just representing their daily lives, their daily diaries in a YouTube, in a different available social platforms, in a form of a blogging, when the people are sharing about their life stories and about the daily drama, about that the TV shows and all things. And at that time, you are commenting at that kind of platforms. So that is actually you may say you are making your comment public, right? So this is like dynamic connections, many to many connections. Like many people can read it, your comment at that time, at that space. Many can read it, many can like it, many can like dislike your comment, right? So these all are the about the example that how you are dealing with the many to many communications, and from that article example was that actually one-to-one response, and your people just doing it. So next is the dynamic connections. So in the dynamic connections, if you are not friendly, if you are not comfortable with any kind of content, if with any of the news channels, for example, they do publish or they do broadcast any kinds of news that is not that is not appropriate, that is maybe fake, that is not based on truth values, that is maybe going like doing on some personal, being personal to someone, and you know it very well. What you can do? Nearly to impossible to just ignore out all these things, all those things, because if you are uncomfortable with it, what you can do, you can just stop watching that channel simply. But you can't just take it but you can't like what you can do with that internet that is providing all of the news, being making such kind of news public to all the everyone, and everyone has an access to the internet. You can't just lose your you can't do that you don't use internet. But what will you will do, you will just stop making that channel, looking at that channel, watching that channel. You may also want, when you people talk about that news channel or report, when news channel is being reported by many of its audience, that that channel can be like blocked, may get blocked, because many of the audience have reported against it. So this was actually the reason, this was actually the solution for that kind of problem, that this thing, this newspaper or this news channel has been reported by such a big audience, so it is being reported, it is being blocked, it is being blocked by the member, it is being blocked by any organization. But you can't do what you cannot just stop using internet, or stop making people to stop using internet. So these are not actually the solutions of that. So such kinds of problems can be, so huge number of websites are there, so not comfortable with all of the websites, just stop watching it, right? So you may report a content, you may just make any website in a blacklist, in a like stop making access yourself to watch that website. Just don't access their website, just don't let your family to watch that any kind of website. an inappropriate website by blocking it, by putting it in a blacklist. But what you can do with the rest of the people? You can't stop people to stop watching that kind of content from their websites. So it extends beyond the national borders and laws and how to distinguish between minors and adults. So this is also one of the challenges being faced by that internet users or that internet people, that people who are publishing it, people who are uh, people they do have a sense, everyone has a sense of like sense of humor, sense of like publishing it, that what kind of content and what kind of content this is for what kind of age limit, right? Is it a child content or is it an adult content? So before publishing it, there must be any strategy, any laws being introduced by the government, by the people. There must be some any kind of legal action that should be able to discriminate between a minor and an adult because of that illegal content, because of the inappropriate content. So, if the user is accessing your website, is any of that illegal or any kind of that inappropriate website? So, what is the how you are going to confirm it? How you are going to acknowledge it by asking? Is it the way by asking it? That is it a minor or what the age? Are you below like 18 or are you above 18? Are you a minor or an adult? So one can just make a false statement by pretending to be someone else, as I've told this identity theft. They're pretending to be someone else, right? So taking in someone else's identity. Okay, no, if I'll say no, I'm not a like. Okay, I'm a child, or no, I'm not a child. I'm very adult. So everyone can make a false statement. There should be a mechanism to confirm for a confirmation that is it an adult, or if it is an adult, or if it is a child, the content that is going to be published to the child should only be a child content. There must be restricted some ways. There some must be some hard and hard and hard rules to restrict people, to restrict kids to watching some inappropriate content. So unfortunately, it's not being practiced in here in Pakistan. But looking forward to it. To should introduce some kind of strategy and methods that people should have um, discrimination, a border that must be created between adults and children. So what is next? Next is government filtering and the surveillance. Okay, next is government filtering and surveillance, right? So, depending upon the area, depending upon the region, from country to country, people are working on such kind of content. Um, for example, the North Korea area, Cuba, internet virtually inaccessible. And in North Korea, what the people have done, the government have done, they have clearly a statement, any kind of like um, clearly restrictions like children to the people, they won't have an access to that internet. Fine, because that kind by using that kind of facilitation of that services, one may they don't care. Actually, I've read somewhere they don't care that what is happening to the world. They are providing all the basic information that must be given to the student, that must be given to any person, any living person of their nation, to that all the important news or the information, their health issues, their up to date information about their lifestyles, about their education systems, and about their lifestyles must be given. They are being given, but they are not being access to that internet. They are not being internet accessible, right? Like people, they may, because one of the thing is that you may get addicted to the internet, and people do have a bad intentions. The From a nation to nation, they can actually make you deprived of all of the basic knowledge that one should have. The basic knowledge, basic the knowledge being given must be given to the student. That is very important. One should have a bad intention, one nation can have a bad intention, that these people or these Muslims should not exceed or should not excel in their career, in their educational career. They should not have their such kind of knowledge. So what is the way to distract them? By having this by making them addict towards the internet. Are you getting it? Right? So they provide sufficient information for their, that is important to the students and all the things, but they won't make it easy access to everyone of it, right? For their time wastage and all the things. So in the Saudi Arabia centralized control center is also there must be a monitoring services. You can't just say anything that is illegal, or you can't just you're not allowed to say any for any illegal activity, or say any bad words or any illegal uh, like any illegal thing. ठीक है? Republic of China blocks internet access or at times of the social unrest, has one of the most sophisticated filtering systems in the world. So Germany forbids access to the neo-Nazi sites. United States have been repeated efforts to limit access of minors to pornography. Like, look at this all things. So one should have the religion rights as well. That what kind of content it is, what is to be, what should make, what kind of content should be made public, and one should be the restricted, right? So when the people, one should not have any right to go against the religion, right? So when there's lots of things against our religion, Islam, then we people also get hurt. We also make an action by reporting it. But in Pakistan, we are just keep sharing such kind of messages. I have also noticed that this thing, and I also was being told by someone that not you should not share these kinds of things. That if something is going against your religion values, what we people do for Pakistani, we keep on sharing. Okay, this was an incident. This was said against by our religion, Islam. Oh my God, we should just do make it share to everyone. We should do make a share. Like this person has done wrong, saying has gone against, has made a statement against our religion. We are keep on forwarding to all of the friends what we are doing, what we are making their agenda, we are making their their motive successful. They want to make us share, and we are sharing it. Once we are sharing it, we are making it famous by sharing it to many of the people. And that's the thing they have already just want us from. They want us to make it share as much as they can, and we are sharing it. So don't just share that kind of content anymore in the future. Yes, but we should report it as, if we are have to report it to some way, we should do that. We should take an action to report it, that this is against the religion values, this is against our religion, Islam. So don't, no one has the right to go or give a statement according, and that is uh, unfair to our religion, that is against our religion. So we should report it, we should do it, an action that is against it, we should do that. But we should not just keep on forwarding that kinds of materials, right? So in US or the Germany, they have they just forbid access to the neo-Nazi sites. Like people, they do respect their religion values, they do respect their moral values, right? So that neo-Nazi sides is about that German specific, about that history, that you're not allowed to say anything against their people, like. So if you are, and they have that strong systems, they have that strong filtering out systems. When we people are ever about to share or type any kind of sensitive content, are you getting sensitive kind of pattern or sensitive kind of words in our message? Are you getting that intelligence data, or that something is that is going against the moral values, against the people, against the Hitler, right? So neo-Nazi sites, against any kind of the person or any kind of values, that is against, might against any religion, or might against any region of people, like Germany and all. So once you will type it, your monitoring will just keep checking on. They will keep monitoring your actions and your activities, and they might block you, right? So they have that strong filtering systems in the world, and the US, they have been repeated efforts to limit access to minors to the pornography. So these contents, or this such kinds of restricted content should have could have been better, and in our Pakistan especially, and the people are, they have a great filtering system in the world as well. As I have told you, they are not being accessed to the internet content, to the sensitive content, to any content that is against their moral values, against their religions, against that pornography and all that inappropriate contents that is being available to all of the people onwards. Okay. Now what the we are discussing it, the freedom of expression. So we have already been discussed different things about that internet interactions, including this is the censorship, including the sublime system, filtering systems, including the basic protecting and respecting the moral values of every religion and every society and nation. And we should we have already discussed about the self-censorship, about the direct censorship, about the different things, but now the thing is the freedom of expression. Freedom of expression, right? So everyone has the right to the freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to hold opinions and to um, receive and impart information and ideas without the interference by the public authority in the regardless of the frontiers, right? So that is the Article 10 of the Human Rights Act, that is the freedom of expression. That everyone has the right of the freedom of expression. That everyone has the right to express himself, but one should not be personal, or one should not go against the moral and the Islamic values. Uh, as we have discussed, that we are not allowed to share any content that is against any religious values, any against any religion, or or should have any kind of disrespect to anyone, or to any of the nation, to any of the person, uh, to making them depressed, to making them less, to making them feel like on less confident. Freedom of expression, right? Freedom of expression, um, the First Amendment covers political and the non-political speech, and right to freedom of expression must be balanced against the public good. Yeah, fine. Various restrictions on the freedom of expressions exist, right? So when people talk about that freedom of expression, that it's a right to respect and to respect moral values, to respect the one's religion values of everyone. But when you people talk, just be because every nation and every government has their some rules, or that you should not be allowed to do any kind of amendment to any of their speeches, or about to any of their rules being set by the government, right? So it covers that political and non-political speech. We can't be so much personal, we can't take it much interested in this some any personal conversation about any political views or any non-political speeches. We are not allowed to do any kind of amendment in the any kind of in any of that resolutions, any of that things, rules being set by the government, by the organizations. So everyone has actually a right to express himself, to for their emotions, their strategy, their way living. But one should not just forget about all of the values of the moral values, Islamic values, and the ethical, being ethical and being like being ethical and being social as well. Like being social, it's not like that you are allowed to say or to uh, make public any kind of the content that is maybe against any personally you are maybe making any the thing any of the person what to say, but किसी को आप जो target कर लेना या किसी को emotionally blackmail करना, right? So you can't do lynching or all of that things, that you are just keep on disturbing mentally, uh, you keep torturing, or you keep on just going against someone by just by false information, by the false identity and all of the rules, without any further investigation, and without any that proper investigation and proper uh, for any confirmation from without confirming from any reliable sources, right? So, and various restrictions on the freedom of expression that still exist, that you are not allowed to say any the thing against any of the political to any political career, to any of that to any that social or any religious activity or religious consent. So various restrictions do exist, although there is a freedom